Welcome to a Monday night chat with Garage Geek. I hope everyone is well, had a nice weekend. So I actually did a Friday night chat on a Saturday night, which ended up being posted on Sunday morning. And that was about 4 hours long. And I eventually deleted it. So about 78 people got, oh, there's a mosquito. About 78 people got to watch it, I think, or at least they watched part of it. But I did take it down because of the fact that I was drinking and I'm a teacher. And one of my friends wisely pointed out that those two online don't mix. And I thought, yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry. So I went ahead and took that down. And what was great about that is three people jumped on with me, all like unscheduled, and for about 3.5 hours or more, there was someone online with me constantly. And usually I can't stand to be on a live stream more than an hour or an hour and a half, but because of my inebriated state, I just kept going. And honestly, I do not remember most of what I said that night. I know I was rambling and talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but I had gone out with my husband and we had 3 or 4 drinks out. And then when we came back, I got the live stream going and I had 4 beers with me and I actually drank 3 of them. I'm going to show them off. And they're not low in alcohol content, and I'm such a lightweight to begin with. So I'll show them in the order that I drank them because the people who were in the chat, and I'm going to mention them in a bit, they actually chose which ones. So the first is a paperback beer can, and this is the Beer Snob, and look at pretty awesome. And this one is nose up, pinky down, beer down. And it's a West Coast style double India pale ale. And it's 8.2% alcohol. I mean, that's high. Most beers are 5, I think. And then the next one I drank was this one. And this one reminds me of Magritte, but it was called Bohemian. And this is from the Ogopogo Brewing. I don't know that company, but that's kind of neat how the sticker does that. And yeah, and this one is, what kind is this? Belgian white ale. See, this one's only 5%. And then the final one that I drank, which I don't even remember drinking this, honestly, is Common Space. We Love LA Wildfire Relief Lager. And this one says proceeds from this beer benefit United Way's Wildfire Response Fund. That's pretty cool. I know that there's, excuse me, a blue and a red can of this because I actually ordered the blue one and they gave me the red. And I didn't actually drink it there, so I brought it home with me. Because I actually ended up getting wine. I wanted wine instead, but I wanted the beer can. So I took that one to go. And what kind of beer is this? It just says Wildfire Relief Lager. And what percentage is it? I can't find it. Oh, this one's only 4.5. So yeah, the paperback ones are the one to watch out for because was 8.5. Okay, so we also went to a bookstore in our neighborhood and I bought a couple of books. So I bought this Ben Okri book. And he's somebody that I know about from the Booker Prize. His book, The Famished Road, won, and I read that a long time ago. Loved it. I think I've read at least one more book by him, probably 2. But this book is so cool. I love the hardback with the picture on it. Now, there's a problem with it because I don't know if you could tell, but it's this kind of like waxy cover that I know if you wear against it, it's going to rub away. It's kind of doing that now. So I need to protect this somehow. But yeah, beautiful book. And like I said, he's a really, really interesting writer. Look at those end pages. And I'm looking forward to reading it. It doesn't, it's not like solid text. There's a lot, so even though it looks long, I don't think it's that long of a read. And then I bought 2 New York Review of Books, and I'll go over them. One is a book of poetry called Jejuri, I'm not sure, by Arun Kolatkar. And I believe he's from India. I'm not sure, but it's poetry. This is real easy to read. I actually started this. And I guess it won an award, and I mean I will trust anything put out by this book company. Everything I've read in this has been great. Really, really good to great to excellent. Okay, and then this one was In Hazard by Richard Hughes. And first of all, that's a cool cover. The description of this one sounded really cool. The Archimedes is a modern merchant steamship in tip-top condition, and in the summer of 1929, it has been a little overloaded. Okay, what is it doing? Before long, the weather turns unexpectedly rough, and it turns out they've been swept up into the vortex of an immense hurricane, and for the next 4 days, it will be battered and mauled by winds and waves as it is driven wildly off course. And it keeps going on. This sounds fascinating, so I'm really looking forward to reading that. And the text on that is pretty big, so it's probably not that long. Now, when I came home the other day, I had a box waiting for me from Mr. E, the Low Grade King, and it was a big box. And I was like, whoa, what did I do to deserve this? So I went ahead and opened it, of course, and there were a ton of comics and a lot of really good ones. Where did I put them? Did I put them behind me? Yeah, so a bunch of really, really good comics, and I'm going to show some of them off. So he gave me these 0 Point. They're pretty interesting. The artwork on the cover, I don't know much about this, but I do dig that artwork. And then he gave me a Captain America that I don't think I have this. I'm not sure, but wow, I love Alex Ross anyway. He gave me this Mighty Thor, which is a key issue. I don't know much about modern Thor. I usually read this stuff in the graphic novels when they come out. But yeah, that's really a cool comic book to have. And he gave me a bunch of X Factor, and I'm especially collecting the X Factor of Walt Simonson covers. I mean, look at how fun that is. And this was my favorite of the bunch. This old Anthro. Now, there's only like 6 or 8 of these comics, and most of them have really, really cool covers. I mean, look at this. Awesome cover. And this is Anthro number 5, a 12 center from DC. He also gave me this. This is just like the weirdest thing. I don't know what this is. It's Squarriors number 1. And I don't know if this is about animals that become sentient, they are already sentient, right? I mean, but they can have higher level thinking skills. I don't know what's going on, but this is so intriguing that I actually am going to read that one first. But he also sent me 2 slabs, and I couldn't believe this. So I'm going to show them off, and I was just like, wow, look at this. Beautiful. Oh, by the way, if you actually watched my Drunken Chat, this is all the same stuff. I'm just putting it in a video. So, I mean, I guess you could just turn off the video if you saw that one, but I don't want you to. All right, so here we go. A Captain America. Look at this awesome yellow cover. And what's really neat about this... Where's my coffee? I need a sip. Oh, there it is. I'm going to get a sip of coffee because my throat hurts. What's really cool about this is this reminds me so much of John Byrne. I know it's not. It's by Paul and Jackson, 1985. But this cover screams to me John Byrne. And plus, I love the background. So, wow. That's a cool comic to have. And then this one was really neat. Look at this, Action Comics, a 10 center. It's a 3.0. So this is probably the earliest comic I have in my collection and the lowest grade, and I don't mind that at all. I just think that's funny. But look at Superman is throwing poor Supergirl into space. in like some flying suppository. I don't know what's going on. This is probably Kurt Swan art. And she says, please, please, Superman, don't banish me. Give me another chance. I'm sorry to end your career, but you're a failure as Supergirl. I must exile you to another world. And then she goes flying off and that. These old covers are hilarious. Thank you, Mr. E. What a great, great package that you sent me. I really wasn't expecting anything like that. And I mean, comic books are fine, but then to get a slab, or I mean, 2 slabs, that's crazy. All right. I also bought some comics, and I actually, like always, I bought too many, but I'm going to show some off. These are kind of the best of the bunch, my favorites. Now, on my drunken chat, I was talking about Iron Fist, and I don't know, I went off probably on comic prices and key issues, and I was laughing because Captain Strangelove put in the comments, because I said stupid Sabretooth, because I have the entire run of Iron Fist, except for that. I think either 1 or 2 issues, and one of them is, of course, the Sabretooth issue. I mean, it's so stupid. You can get these comics for like, $4 to $8, and then that one's a couple hundred. It's just dumb to me. It's the same run, the same comic put out at the same time, but just because Sabretooth's first appearance, and he's not even that great a character anyway. Come on. They never, in my opinion, I loved Sabretooth when he was out, but every time he was in the comic, he never lived up to his reputation. He never did anything. I mean, he did way worse in the movie. He like kills Wolverine's girlfriend in the movie, and that was pretty cool. I don't think he does that in the comics. At least he lived up to his potential there. But yeah, that stupid Sabretooth issue, which I'm saying that out of jealousy and spite, because I want that to be a facsimile, because I want to have the whole run of Iron Fist. This World's Finest issue with this cool Neil Adams cover. And I remember saying when I was drunk how I think it's such a shame that you can get Neil Adams covers for so cheap sometimes. He's an artist where I don't mind paying a little bit more for his work, but there are some, as I think Mr. E mentioned in the comments, there are some that are just so, out of my league. So, facsimiles. Look at this cool Dreadstar cover. Yeah, I mean, I love that. Look at how cool that is. Here's another World's Finest with, I don't know what's going on here. Like, why is Superman's head popping off like that? Like, what a cool cover that is. All right. Man, my throat again. I'm going to have another sip. Okay, here we have a Superman family, and Supergirl, she was so mad that she got sent into space in a suppository that she's going to kick Superboy's butt. I mean, look at him. That's hilarious. They're having a knock down, drag him out brawl in the upper atmosphere, and Supergirl's winning. Good for you. This is a great cover. This is an anniversary issue, 500, and it's one of those like forever covers. But yeah, like, look at Superman, how he's like, look at me. Superman, this is your life story. And he's like, yeah, I'm worth it. Here's this really cool painted cover of a Star Trek issue. Now, I don't have a lot of the Gold Key Star Treks. I probably have about 5 or 6 of them. So every time I can get one cheap, I'm pretty happy. Look at this. Freedom Fighters, yellow cover, and Wonder Woman is down and out. Wonder Woman is dead, and it's our fault. Oh my gosh, what did they do? I think she's gonna be okay though. She's gonna make it back. Here's this really cool Monster Menace. So it's a modern comic of probably reprints and that is definitely Steve Ditko. Now, Steve Ditko was an artist that I absolutely hated as a kid because I saw him later in his career. But I'm starting to really dig his stuff as being like very freaky, psychedelic. I mean, look at this kind of stuff. So this is Zutak. And I got just a couple more to show. Here's another Alex Ross. I got a bunch of his stuff, but I thought I'd show one. I already showed that stupid Sabretooth. And look at this crazy Marvel double feature with MODOK. This is so Byrne. Look at the hands on her, the fingers. Look at, oh my gosh, this is so, I mean, not Byrne, what am I saying? So Kirby. It's awesome, just awesome. And then finally, look at this Superman cover. Wah! Superman fails. One failure, and you forget all the good I've done. And he's crying. You miserable ingrates. I'm through with you. Yeah, go away, Superman, because we're all miserable ingrates. And we don't deserve you. Okay, so there were some comics that I got. I talked about some books. What else? Oh. One day I came home and I read these two magazines cover to cover. They're the most recent issues. And I did that because I would go back and forth. I find that reading all of these in one sitting or this, it's just too much of the same thing. So I thought if I went back and forth with comedy and horror, I could do it. And I did. It actually really worked really well. Now, what I love about both of these, like this, the modern Mad magazines, have a lot of the classic Mad in it. And so you're going to get a lot of the really famous Mad artists like this one, Basil what's his name? Wolverton. And so this one is Sergio Aragonés. And I mean, there's so much detail to look at as you're going through this. And like this one was originally published... Let me see, when was this one originally published? Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Oh, wait. They usually say somewhere in the issue. I mean, in the story. And I can't find it. Sorry about that. But as you keep going, this one cracked me up. Rasta nostrils. So these are fads of the future that are going to be in vogue. Rasta nostrils. And this one was by Tom Bunk, the artist. Oh, here we have, of course, classic Don Martin. I mean, I can go on and on. There's just so many, like, look at this. If you like the old Mad magazine, you should probably try the new one because, like I said, they do have a couple of modern things, but mixed in with classic Mad. And it's really a great way to get a kind of overview of Mad magazine every month. And so the next one is Shudder. And what I like about Shudder is seeing all the different artists involved in this. And the stories weren't half bad, to be honest. They weren't. This one is called One Bullet, and it was by Santos Zaballos, and story by Bambos Georgiou. And you can see the art in this is pretty nice. And this is about a guy who is just a jerk. And he kills a gypsy's son. And he gets a curse on him. So I won't reveal the ending. But there she is cursing him. These are like 3-page, 4-page stories. They're a lot of fun. And then the next one, for some reason... This reminded me of a stripped down Neil Adams or the guy who did the X-Men, the artist on the X-Men, and I can't remember his name. Not John Byrne or before. It was like before John Byrne took over. This art style kind of reminds me of him, and at first I didn't really like it, but it kind of grew on me. And this one is about people in a seance and they raise a mummy, and they shouldn't have done that, but they did it. All right, Next, this is a ghost story about 3 women in a house who keep seeing a child ghost. It's a lot of fun. And who's the art on this? Reno Manicky. And story adaptation by Artie Goodwin. Oh. Wait, is that... I probably know Archie Goodwin, not Artie Goodwin. So, Archie, they're probably not the same. Let's see, what else do we have? The Old Wizard's Dying Wish. I actually really like this one. I didn't think the art was the best, but I was getting into the story, and I started to appreciate the art more. So, this wizard is dying, and he sends his henchman or lab assistant or whatever, his servant, to go destroy his evil spell book. But of course he doesn't, and bad things ensue. Do you need more of this? Let me just turn the page one more. Oh, here we got child beating hillbillies. This one is called The Devil's Work, but don't worry, they get what they deserve, those hillbillies. And then... Sorry, that's really derogatory, but that's what it's about. So, yeah. And then, I really, really like the last one. It's called Horror Among Thieves. So these thieves see these vampires attacking a woman, and the vampires have all these jewels on, and so they decide that they're going to rob the castle during the day while they're sleeping. So that's going to work out okay. So there's an overview of the most recent Shudder magazine. Hey, for $6.99, this is really worth it. And Mad is $5.99, cheap. And it actually took me twice as long to read the Mad as this. There's just so much more in it. So both of these magazines, I think, are definitely worth the price. Next... I did read some short stories, and I did go over those during my live chat, but I'm not going to bother to do that now. I'm going to talk about some movies that I watched. Only 2, I think, and some shows, and I think that's gonna be it. So let me go ahead and find... Wait, where are my photos? All right. Oh no, and some books. So I've been watching... The new season of Daredevil. I saw 3 episodes, loved it. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I think it's really, really good, and I absolutely think it's worth watching. Now, there is going to be a lot of talky parts in, courtrooms and all that kind of stuff. I don't mind that. I don't need nonstop action as long as it's good, and I think it really is. I've still been watching Severance. I actually have to watch the latest episode, Severance Season 2. Or is it 3? I think it's season 2. And then I started watching Penguin. I think it was Culture Fan recommended it. I had it on my radar anyway. And I think I'm 5 or 6 episodes in. I have 3 left. And wow, am I loving it. First of all, Penguin's makeup, it just astonishes me that is... Oh, God, I can't remember the actor's name. Like, he's unrecognizable, but he still does... Oh, Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell? Yeah, he still does such an amazing job. And what really, really got me is the woman who plays opposite him is the woman from Palm Springs, the movie that I really, really love. And I was watching it, I'm like, oh my God, who is she? Who is she? But she's so good in this show. She really does steal the show. So I'm really enjoying Penguin. So a couple more episodes to watch. Now, I did watch the movie Smile 2. And I actually have a lot to say about this movie, but I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm going to not try to spoil it. The movie does kind of change in the middle. The first half of the movie is pretty intense and gripping. Now, a lot of movies and shows these days are coming up with a trope of like famous female singers and what they go through. And the first half of this movie is like a horror story of what these women actually go through with their fans and their production, all that, like the dancing, everything to make, the video. Some of the best scenes in this movie are this woman interacting with her fans. And then the second half of the movie kind of just goes crazy, and not in a bad way. But I never knew what was going on. I never knew what was real, what wasn't. I guess we're supposed to be thrown off just like she is. Like, she's going through all these crazy situations. But man, there's some beauty in the way they film some of these scenes. Like, they take what's choreography, like a typical video, and they do some crazy things in this movie that really do stick in your mind. This movie is by no means perfect, but man, it does some things that are different and wild and weird, and it's worth watching. It probably is not going to be your favorite horror movie of the year, but it certainly does try to do things a bit differently, I thought, and it's well worth watching. And that is Smile 2. I read a couple books. I think I'm going to skip those. I did talk about them in my live stream. I do want to mention Absolution by Jeff Vandermeer. This is his fourth book in the Annihilation trilogy, or the Southern Reach trilogy. And I read the first three, and I'm a huge fan, especially Annihilation. One of my favorite books. But the storyline is very, very convoluted, very difficult to remember. And after all these years, I did not remember it. I started listening to this book, and I had very mixed reactions to it. There are some parts that are brilliant, just brilliantly written. And then there are other parts that are a slog. And I think you have to, remember details from the other books, and I hadn't read those in years. That's on me, though. That's not the writer's fault. But there is this one section of the book where we have a guy that is saying the F word nonstop. And it goes on for like 20 pages or more. And so many people online are like complaining because they're like, it's unreadable. I can't get through it. It's like, it's pretty bad. But here's the thing, the audio of it, the actor was so good. He made every F word sound distinct, and he never made it boring. And even though it was a slog to get through, it was so interesting just listening to the actor's performance go through this, that it kept me engaged in that manner. It's a weird book. It's definitely not going to appeal to everybody, but there are some scenes in here that are unforgettable. Like there's a cannibalism scene that he makes you kind of understand why the guy does it and how he gets through it. And it's just really, really gross. But at the same time, you're kind of just like, sitting back and going, like, what am I listening to? And you don't want to stop listening. It's like that engaging. He's a brilliant writer in many regards, but he does tend to carry things on in many places too long. So I don't know if that's, a recommendation for you to read it or not. I think if you loved the first three books, or the Annihilation trilogy, this is something you have to read. If you read Annihilation and loved it, but you did not like the other two books, then you should probably read only sections of this book and find out what they are, or just skip this one altogether. But I didn't even know this was out. I came across it randomly, and I immediately downloaded it and started listening to it. And I'm happy I did. It's a book that I'm going to revisit, but I'm going to go through all four of them. So I'll probably do that within a year or two, but not right now. I had enough of that for a bit. And I think, let me see, do I have any other pictures to share? I am listening to another C.S. Lewis book, and it's a retelling of a myth, and I'm really enjoying it. I didn't realize that C.S. Lewis is kind of a chameleonic writer. He wrote kids' books, which, I've read those. and he wrote those sci-fi books. I've read 2 of the 3, and each book had a different style. And the first one sounded to me, it really, really felt like I was reading an Edgar Rice Burroughs book, I think. Yeah, but this book has a totally different style, and it's actually really, really good. I'm about 75% of the way, so I'll probably talk about that one next week. And I think that is it. So I want to thank everybody. If you suffered through my 4-hour chat, and maybe you got a kick out of that, I don't know, but this is my recap of that. And I never mentioned who was on the video with me. So first it was Son of Crom and Stevie D. I think Stevie D came on first, then Son of Crom. And I don't even know how long they were on with me, but I think Stevie D left first. And I had to apologize to him because I think I was rude to him a couple times. I hardly remember it, but I started watching it again and I was cringing. And that's another reason I kind of wanted to take it down. I was like, ugh. I wasn't like, super nice. And then Son of Crom stayed on longer. I mean, these people were on for like at least 2 hours with a drunken ranting guy. And then Sleepy came on, and he was on, and that was during my worst drunkenness. So I honestly don't even remember much of what I was saying to Sleepy and discussing. So I hope I wasn't too much of a jerk. I know I was. But anyways, thank you 3 for being on there with me and suffering through that with me. I know I had a great time. I remember turning it off and just being really happy. I loved it. It was a fun time. And then I immediately crashed. I mean, it was already like 2 a.m. when I finished. But again, I want to thank you. And if you watched that and you comment on it, I also want to thank you. Sorry I had to delete it. But thank you for watching it. And I hope you enjoyed this recap. But it's time for me to jump back into Penguin. I need to find out how this ends. Everybody have a great week, and maybe I'll see you on Friday.